I'm going to make some spicy beans today. These are one of my favourite recipes that I use for, what do I have it with? Scrambled tofu. I have it for some of my Mexican meals that I make as well with guacamole. So it's quite nice to also have it in wraps. And you can actually even have these beans on toast, which is really nice too, because they're really tasty. So have a look at some of the things which I've laid out on here for you, so you can actually see what goes into it, because there's quite a few bits and pieces. And if you like the sound of what goes into the recipe, into these beans, then well, what you can do is just take a photo of these things. And when you go to the supermarket, you've got the photo there and think, oh, I've already got that at home, or, oh, sugars, I don't have any of that.
Welcome to our channel. We are Louise and Kelly. Join us as we prepare to take on the world, exploring full-time from 2022 by cooking meals, reducing waste and saving money. We hope you enjoy this video.
Because this one here is a little bit different, I found, until I knew where I could buy it from. This one here. Yeah. Anyway, let's get started, shall we? What I've already done is with the beans, I'm actually making quite a large batch, because what I do is I make that and then I freeze them just in little wee containers, and I just get them out as I want them, really. You can just put them in the defrost in the microwave, or what you could do is just leave them out overnight so that they're ready and they're perfect. So choose whatever types of beans that you like, but I'm actually, as you can see in here, I've emptied out these 5 different tins and I've taken the juice out. And here is all the juice in here. So we don't use that straight away, or we don't use them all together. In fact, the beans are the last thing which actually go into the recipe so that they don't go all mushy. Yeah. Rightio. Don't know if you can see that the pan is already on. So have a non-stick, decent size, just a pot or pan like what I've got, and start off with putting in the onions. Now, because I've made 5 tins, you can use pretty much how I do my recipes. It's not set teaspoon, tablespoon, half an onion or whatever it is. It's just going with the flow, basically. I just put a little bit of whatever I feel like in. So this is going to have quite a decent amount of onions in it. Once upon a time I never was able to actually eat onions or garlic or anything at all. So I feel really good being able to make these days. So that is up on high. Just check to make sure that it is. And notice that there's no oil. I don't use very much oil in my cooking. In fact, most of the time I don't really use it at all. I just do occasionally to make some things taste a little bit different, mainly for Kelly, because she quite likes it in her cooking. So there we go. Oh, do you know, when I was setting this all up, there's 2 things that I didn't get out. Let's just leave those cooking for a moment. Garlic and ginger. This is what I was telling you about, how I used to not be able to have garlic, otherwise, well, I wouldn't forget it, because it's always a bit of a routine, really, that when you're using onions, it's usually followed by garlic and then ginger. So as I said to you before, I don't use a set sort of recipe at all, but I'm making that for 5 tins. You might want to try 1 tin of your favourite beans, and you use how much garlic and how much onions that you want. So I'm just using that in this. There we go. And ginger. I do like ginger. Already, you can all just get this from the supermarket, these things. So what's happening, of course, is they are starting to cook quite nicely in there. They're all going very, it smells nice. They're all blending together quite nicely. So this is where you will use just a little bit of that juice. All of it's going to end up being used, by the way. I've got it up really, really high, but I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. I need to stop burning myself because it gets so hot. And I'm going to start adding in all these other bits and pieces. So with the, okay, this is a teaspoon. I'm just trying to sort of help give you a little bit of a gauge, but I'd probably put in with all of that 3/4 of a teaspoon. Some turmeric. I always put turmeric in there. That would be about 1/2 teaspoon in there. I just like using turmeric just because of the colour. Use it in the tofu scramble. It was about 18 months ago that I made changes in my style of food and eating, and I know I used to like using eggs. There's a pinch of cayenne in there, and a decent, sorry, that was chili, that one, and a decent sprinkle of cayenne. Okay, the smoked paprika is always nice to use in here. Teaspoon, about a teaspoon. Okay, lemon juice. I always get mine freshly squeezed for me. So there would need to be about 2 tablespoons of that. That's about, what would you say, is about between 2 and 3 tablespoons, wasn't it? Right, yeast needs to go in there as well. Let's get about a tablespoon of that in there. You've got to have a little bit of a salty type of flavour, so we'll do a good couple of squirts of that in there. And now, of course, for the liquid smoke. So the liquid smoke is, where do I get that from? I think I order it through Little Bird. If you are interested, you can always message me. So just a little wee dribble of that because it's really powerful, this stuff. That's so nice. Get that all a nice wee mix up in there. Okay, so another one that I use in here is quite a decent, probably 1/2 tablespoon of the miso in there. Rightio. Okay, that tahini, see if I've got another one which is actually open. Decent dollop, tablespoon of that. Starting to all cook quite nicely in there. Quite a few ingredients in here, isn't there? I'll tell you what, it's worth it, and especially when you just leave it for a little bit, or leave it in before you actually freeze it, even if you just leave it in the fridge for a day or two so that they all blend in together really, really nicely. Okay, this is an interesting type of thing to use, apple cider vinegar, but it just gives that sort of bite. So what you've got is that salty, smoky flavour, and then you've got the lemon in there as well for another citrusy sort of note flavour, and then you've got this, which just gives it a bit of a tang taste to it. So that probably would be about a tablespoon and a wee bit more. Okay, so this is turning into quite a mixture, isn't it? Let's get it all mixed up. you'll notice that I've got some onions left over there. I'm not going to be using all of those onions, but it's quite nice to just have that little bit of crunch when you finish cooking. Just with me stirring this, I can smell all those different flavours in there. Right, I'm going to turn that right up now, and I am going to, that is 2 carrots, so 5 tins, 2 carrots, just work out what you sort of want to eat. You might not even like carrots, use something else that you may like for example some peppers, because they're quite sweet, these things. Or you might like radishes, because they just give a slight little crunch. See, because you've got the softness of the beans, but just because these are all going to cook, but they just give that nice little, slight little crunch. And they cook quite quickly, all these things. Radishes, can you believe it? Putting radishes, cooking with them. Courgettes, there's quite a few in here actually, when you pick some out of the garden. You love it when you can go out to the garden and pick those things. It's been about 12 months now actually from when we built our own veggie boxes. We've got 4 large ones, lots of herbs. See, the colours look good in there too, don't they? And the beans aren't even in there yet. The beans and the lentils. Yes, we've got all sorts of things that we have in the garden. Haven't really got it worked out too well on how to grow corn. The corn looks so good as it grew from this big up until this big, and then it ends up, you know, with the corn on it and everything like that. And I think we left it too long because they only were about this size, about that size, and waiting for them to go this size. And they never did, and then breaking them off and they were all dried up inside. So anyway, if anybody wanted to comment and say anything about how to grow corn, certainly would love to know. You can grow beans really well though, anything from all the different types of beans that there are. Anyway, the thing is, it's cooking quite nicely in there because it hasn't got all that sort of liquid in there at the moment. You can actually put a tin of tomatoes in there as well, which I might even actually still do, just to give it another little wee sweet flavour. And the usual sorts of thing is you'd always get the spoon and dip it in there and have a wee taste to see what it tastes like. And if you feel it needs a little bit more salt or heat, like chili or cayenne, just add it. It's easy as that, just add it. Or a bit more of the vinegar. So nothing goes to waste, it all gets used, all that sauce. Actually nothing gets wasted around here anyway. You might have heard me saying that when we squeeze our lemons and squeeze our oranges, we use every part of it. I'd love to know for you to put in the comments whether you actually make this recipe, and if you do, how it turns out, and whether you like it actually, and what you used it with or for. So probably what you could do there is cook that for about another 5 minutes or so with it bubbling away like that, and then what you would do is you'd then add all those beans. Have another look again at what type of beans there are. There might be things that you just think, ugh, I would never use those, and just use all 5 tins or 2 or 3 tins of the one type that you like. I just like to mix it up because then I know that I'm having a really good variety of all those beans. It's really funny actually since I've been plant-based, because the thing is that they say you've got to have a good balance of protein and carbohydrates and salts and sugars and all this sort of thing, and your body just tells you when you really need it, because you get this really big sort of craving for certain things. And mine of course was sugar for quite a long time, and still do a little bit now, but that's only just because I'm ready for one of my chocolate banana wraps. And then sometimes right at the very beginning there, just feeling maybe a little bit light-headed, and I found that, oh shivers, I hadn't had any beans or any tofu or anything like that for 4 or 5, 6 days. And the moment that you have that, it's like it gives you, it's like Popeye's spinach, it just makes you just have all this energy. And yeah, it's just so easy to make. I have so many different types of tofu recipes and things as well. So many different sorts, just ones that I've learned along the way. I don't know if that's 5 minutes, I've lost time, but here we go, let's get the beans in. And I'm actually really pleased with that too, because you usually, what I need to do is let the sauce and everything like that all sort of burn down, whereas in this, doesn't really have the sauce in it. Has a wee bit in there, but it's pretty colourful, isn't it? There is my